In the shadowy depths of a lush tropical forest, life thrives with a vibrancy that few get to witness. The golden sun streaming through the canopy illuminates what appears to be a playful troop of monkeys. However, amid the joyful sounds of chattering and swinging, one monkey stands out in a grim and horrifying way. That little creature is a living testament to a dark reality, one that beckons the curiosity of both biologists and the morbidly fascinated, with raw areas of flesh visible through patches of matted fur. This monkey's arm tells a story of suffering that diverges sharply from the usual carefree antics of its kin. Horrifically, a swarm of insects has made this unfortunate being their home, turning what should be a vibrant life into something that resembles a horror film. As we venture deeper into this treacherous realm of nature, we learn that insect infestations are not merely coincidental occurrences, but rather a stark manifestation of a larger ecological narrative. The wounds on this particular monkey are a buffet for these opportunistic parasites, where flesh-eating maggots wriggle and squirm, feasting heartily in an orchestra of nature's cruel design. Each small incision is a theater of decomposition, where the living become sustenance for the thriving. The sight is one that many would recoil from: decay, disease, and despair intermingled, a grotesque ballet that highlights the darker side of evolution. The wounds on the monkey are not simply isolated incidents. They are emblematic of a larger phenomenon. Insects such as blowflies lay their eggs in open wounds, and within hours, delicate larvae emerge, burrowing into soft tissue, consuming it as they grow. A rather macabre race against time, this grotesque life cycle underscores the vicious cycle of nature, wherein life and death are intertwined in ways often overlooked in romanticized portrayals of the animal kingdom. This cycle does not discriminate. The loss of habitat due to deforestation and human encroachment forces these animals into proximity with their foes as they leave behind their natural guardians and enter a world rife with new dangers. Moreover, this infestation reflects the relentless quest for survival of nature's tiniest agents. Insects can thrive in conditions where other forms of life perish, showcasing their resilience, like tiny in the heart of the Australian outback, where the sun scorches the earth and the air shimmers with heat. A scene unfolds that is both shocking and grotesque. Picture a kangaroo, a symbol of the wild, bounding gracefully across the rugged terrain. But today, this kangaroo is not the picture of health and vitality. Instead, it bears a horrific wound, a gaping hole in its side, a gruesome testament to nature's darker side. This is not just any injury. It is the result of a bee infestation, a phenomenon that is as fascinating as it is repulsive. As we delve into this unsettling tale, prepare yourself for a journey into the macabre world of parasitism, where the line between life and death blurs in the most unexpected ways. The wound on the kangaroo is a festering hive, a grotesque amalgamation of flesh and buzzing insects. The bees, once revered for their role in pollination and honey production, have turned into a nightmarish plague for this unfortunate creature. They have invaded the kangaroo's body, burrowing into its flesh, creating a hive that thrives on the very life force of its host. The sight is enough to make even the strongest stomach churn. The bees, with their tiny, glistening bodies, swarm in and out of the wound, their incessant buzzing a haunting soundtrack to this macabre scene. Each bee, a tiny harbinger of doom, feeds on the kangaroo's blood, laying eggs that will hatch into larvae, further compounding the horror. As we explore the biology of this infestation, it becomes clear that the bees are not merely mindless creatures. They are driven by instinct, following a primal urge to reproduce and survive. The kangaroo, on the other hand, is a victim of circumstance, caught in a web of nature's cruel design. The wound, once a mere scratch, has become a breeding ground for these insects, a dark testament to the harsh realities of life in the wild. The bees, in their relentless pursuit of survival, have turned this majestic animal into a mere vessel for their offspring, a living host that will ultimately succumb to their insatiable hunger. But how did this infestation come to be? The answer lies in the delicate balance of nature. Bees are attracted to wounds, drawn by the scent of blood, and the promise of a warm, living environment for their larvae. In a world where resources are scarce, the kangaroo's injury became an opportunity for the bees, a chance to exploit a vulnerable creature. This is a stark reminder of the brutal realities of survival in the heart of the African savanna, where the sun blazes down and the air is thick with the scent of earth and life. A chilling tale unfolds. Picture a leopard, a creature of grace and power, prowling through the tall grasses. But this is no ordinary leopard. It bears a horrific wound, a grotesque testament to nature's darker side. The wound, a gaping, festering mass, is not merely a result of a predator's battle or a careless encounter with a thorny bush. No, this is the aftermath of a bee infestation, a phenomenon that is as fascinating as it is repulsive. As we delve into this unsettling narrative, prepare yourself for a journey that intertwines the beauty of the wild with the grotesque realities of survival. The leopard, with its striking coat of rosettes, now bears a patch of raw, inflamed flesh, a stark contrast to its otherwise majestic appearance. The bees, tiny yet formidable, have made this powerful predator their unwitting host. They swarm in a frenzy, their buzzing a sinister symphony that echoes through the air. Each bee, a minuscule soldier, has taken up residence in the leopard's wound, laying eggs and feeding on the decaying tissue. This gruesome scene is not just a horror show. It is a brutal reminder of the relentless cycle of life and death in the animal kingdom. As we examine this unsettling situation, we must confront the biology behind it. The bees, drawn to the scent of the leopard's injury, see an opportunity for survival. They are not malicious. They are simply following their instincts, driven by the primal need to reproduce and thrive. The larvae that hatch from the eggs will feast on the leopard's flesh, a macabre banquet that will ultimately lead to the animal's demise. This parasitic relationship, while horrifying, is a natural occurrence in the wild, where the line between predator and prey is often blurred. But what does this mean for the leopard? As the infestation progresses, the once mighty hunter becomes a victim of its own body. The pain and suffering inflicted by the bees are compounded by the risk of infection. As the wound becomes a breeding ground for bacteria, the leopard, once a symbol of strength and agility, now struggles to survive, its movements hindered by the agony of its condition. It is a stark reminder that even the most formidable creatures are not immune to the harsh realities of nature. In this dark narrative, we must also consider the role of humans. Our encroachment on natural habitats has disrupted the delicate balance of ecosystems. As we clear land for agriculture and urban development, we inadvertently create conditions that can lead to such infestations. The bees, seeking new homes, may find their way into the wounds of unsuspecting animals, a consequence of our actions. This raises ethical questions about our responsibility to the creatures with whom we share this planet. Are we, in our quest for progress, dooming other species to suffer? As we reflect on this unsettling tale, we find ourselves at a crossroads. The leopard's plight serves as a metaphor for the broader struggles faced by wildlife in an increasingly human-dominated world. It is a reminder that nature, while beautiful, can also be brutal. The bees, in their quest for survival, become agents of death for the leopard, illustrating the harsh realities of life in the wild. Yet, there is a dark humor in this tragedy. The very creatures that symbolize industriousness and community can also be the harbingers of doom, perhaps, in a twisted sense. We are all just trying to find our place in this chaotic world, even if it means becoming a host for a swarm of bees. In the end, the story of the leopard and its horrific beehive wound is not just a tale of suffering. It is a reflection of the intricate web of life that binds us all. It challenges us to consider our impact on the natural world and the consequences of our actions. As we watch this leopard struggle, we are reminded that in the grand tapestry of existence, every thread is interconnected. The bees, the leopard, and even us, each plays a role in this complex narrative of survival. So, the next time you hear the buzz of a bee, remember the leopard and the dark dance of life and death that unfolds in the shadows of the savannah. After all, nature has a way of reminding us that we are all part of the same story, whether we like it or not. Once the embodiment of grace and majesty, the white lion now finds itself the subject of a grotesque tableau, an artistically horrifying reminder of nature's duality. Its coat, a sumptuous white, once glistened under the sun like freshly fallen snow. Today, however, it is marred by the aftermath of a beehive wound, a churned mess of raw flesh and grotesque pollinators. This captivating creature, caught between beauty and devastation, invites us into a dark narrative, one that explores not just the lion's plight, but the thundering balance of nature itself. As you gaze upon this lion, you might be struck by the juxtaposition. Imagine a core of powerful muscles and sharp, formidable teeth now burdened with an unyielding army of bees swarming mercilessly above the open wound. Like tiny jets of malice, they dart in and out, burrowing into the gory flesh where yellowed, decaying tissue is exposed to the elements. This once fearsome predator, now a battlefield of varying shades of suffering, compels you to consider how even the greatest of beasts can fall prey to nature's capricious whims. The bees, those deceptively innocuous creatures, turned lethal as they created their hive, erupting into chaos when disturbed. It's a harsh reminder that beauty can be short-lived, overshadowed by brutality. Part of what makes this situation so disturbing is the nature of bee infestations. The initial injury is not made by the bees, but rather results from a lurking predator, another part of this grand ecosystem. As if orchestrated by fate, the white lion attends to a fresh kill, its powerful instincts momentarily clouded by hunger. In that fleeting moment of weakness, it brushes against a tree where the hive lies nestled, unaware of the danger simmers just beyond instinct's reach. The bees, relentless guardians of their territory, respond with stings that bewilder and confuse the lion, drawing it into their chaotic domain. What ensues is a brutal melee. The lion, now infested, may perish not from the initial wounds, but rather the infection, the resulting fever that can grind an apex predator down to a frail frame. As the cameras zoom in on the scene, notice the grotesque discord of in the heart of the African savanna, where the golden grasses sway under the relentless sun, and the air hums with the sounds of life. One creature stands out, both mesmerizing and haunting. The white lion, an embodiment of beauty and majesty, now bears a chilling reminder of nature's darker side. As we delve into the story of this extraordinary animal, you'll encounter a sight that will jolt you from your reverie: a horrific barnacle wound consuming its flank. This gaping affliction, where crustaceans feast upon flesh, reflects not merely a grotesque tableau, but also a grim reality that intertwines the lives of predator and prey, of nature and human interference. Imagine the lion's quiet strength, muted by an unseen invasion. The once proud creature, with its striking ivory mane regal against the landscape, struggles under the weight of an infestation that grotesquely blooms across its skin. At first glance, it appears as though barnacles, typically clinging to the hulls of ships in ocean depths, have found an unlikely new home, the vast body of this apex predator. But how did this unthinkable situation arise? Barnacle infestation is most commonly associated with aquatic life, where these opportunistic crustaceans permanently attach themselves to underwater surfaces. Yet, in this case, it appears that the white lion has wandered into conflict with an ecosystem that has spiraled out of balance, fleeing a devastated region, possibly a byproduct of environmental stress. This solitary wanderer now bears the consequences of habitat loss and disease, where traditional roles dissolve into a chaotic free-for-all. As we zoom in, the wound reveals clusters of barnacles, each one a tiny fortress, their hard, slate-like shells difficult to pry away. They ensnare the lion's skin like a sinister necklace of destruction, leaving trails of blood in their wake. The horror of this situation is not just in its appearance. It begs the question of sustainability. How can a lion, a creature so pivotal to its ecosystem, survive when pitted against such insidious intruders? Each barnacle siphoning nutrients, each day passing into torment, illustrates nature's harsh realities, where once mighty kings of the savanna tumble before a seemingly benign marine interloper. The irony here is almost poetic, as both barnacle and lion are victims of an ecosystem deepening in chaos, their fates intertwined. As we scrutinize the wound and its ramifications, it reveals layers of complexity. The barnacles proliferate in underserved ecosystems, often due to human activity, pollution, and habitat degradation playing roles in creating perfect conditions for these parasites to thrive. An unsuspecting lion, merely trying to survive, becomes a canvas for nature.